Welcome to Elevate Your Event, where high-stakes events meets high standards. If you've ever been told that's just how the system works and refuse to accept it, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
With the new year well underway, it's becoming clear what's actually defining successful fundraising events. In today's episode, we're breaking down what's working right now and what many organizations are still getting wrong. Let's dive into it.
All right, what most organizations will get wrong about events in 2026. This is going to be a fun one, right? I mean, everybody does their predictions or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, I guess you can call this a prediction. We're not going to give you advice. We're just going to, well, inadvertently, we're going to give you advice or what we think most people are not going to get right. Let's talk about these.
All right.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Should we introduce ourselves? Do we have to do that?
I mean, we can.
Okay.
Why don't you? I mean, it's the beginning of a year. You know, we might as well.
In case everybody forgot who we were. All right.
James will put lower
been
thirds
like a
on the
month.
screen. You know.
All right. For those that are watching online, you'll be able to see it. But I'm Jeff Porter, CEO, founder of Handbid, and
Elise Druckenmiller, Director of Sales.
I'm Elise Neugebauer, Client Services Manager.
Mark Labriola, the second producer extraordinaire.
yes, makes everything happen. It's awesome. Okay. Number one, the hybrid event, as most people define it, is dead. That was the COVID.
That was COVID. That was a COVID era.
About
We're moving
six-
past that.
Almost
Well-
6 years ago.
Well, here's the thing, too. So let's define hybrid event for those people who don't know exactly what we're talking about here. That most people view that as the in-person event, and it's the in-person event plus the live stream for the people who can't attend. Mm-hmm. And, back during the COVID timeframe, everything was online. And then as things started to kind of open up a little bit and you could have an event, maybe you could only have an event with 50 people. So 50 people would come and then everybody else would be online. And that kind of lingered on for a while. And these things are not like the concept of remote audiences and in-person audiences is not new in commercial auctions.
Yeah.
Correct.
Auto auctions, real estate, oil and gas. We do a lot of those in oil and gas. And in those particular circumstances, they're auctions.
They're not events.
They're
But
not
what about
events.
telethons? Those have been around for a long time, too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But in case of like a fundraising event where you've got your classic, hey, this is like I've done this before. It's all in person. I have my ticketing, my check-in, my auction area. I have my paddle raise. I have my presentation. I have a seated, plated dinner, perhaps, or
Your gala.
buffet, my gala.
Yeah.
Maybe entertainment, and then I kind of hook a remote audience connection onto that through a camera or something, and you're trying to kind of create that dual experience. And I thought it was a necessity 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes.
It was.
It was.
I think it kept a lot of organizations in business.
I agree.
But it was hard to pull off, let's admit. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of
And
work.
if you wanted remote bidders, which we actually do a lot of, I mean, that's something that I think we've gotten actually quite good at. You've got to have an auctioneer who knows how to do it.
Absolutely.
And most of the benefit auctioneers out there probably just aren't used to that. Maybe they are now after COVID, but for a while you're not, because you're focused on the people in the room, and then you forget that there's online bidders and there's some crazy blonde-haired lady over in the corner screaming out that she has an online bid that you're not paying any attention to. So anyway,
I think there's an element of, if you're going to do an online event, you should make it specific to that audience. Like, instead of just having a camera sitting in a back of a room filming a event happening, there should be really thought, a run of show, like a lot that should go
I agree with
into
you.
it.
Right. Like
so that it can
two
be produced
separate
well.
curated experiences.
well,
Yes,
and look,
exactly.
let's be honest, right? So this is what you do for a living, right?
Yeah.
You have the camera, but I think you would be the first person to tell your clients, I'm not just going to put it on a tripod in the back of the room. Like, we need to do something unique and special here, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're not here.
Yep. And, yeah, and I think you'll get more engagement if you're thinking about that person who's sitting at home watching on their computer, watching on their TV or something like that. And then if you're engaging with those people as they're in that environment, they'll feel more inclined, I think, to participate and give and feel more a part of the event.
But they're not an afterthought.
Absolutely. And during COVID, when hybrid events they weren't hybrid, they were virtual.
Yeah.
Right. But that was the time when the auctioneer was forced to engage with those online people. Now they're not. They're back to focusing on who's in the room, which is what they're classically trained to do, and it makes perfect sense. But also, you have these people who have paid a lot of money, sponsorships, ticket purchases. Those are not cheap.
Right.
And so your focus is on them because they paid the money to do that. But now you're kind of leaving your online bidders in the dust.
Yeah.
A little bit. And I would say, if you're also not good at this, and I will just kind of put our commercial auction hat on, right?
Yeah.
If you're like when we do an oil and gas auction, if you're not good at clerking, the online bidders destroy the people in the room. They because it's faster, right? I mean, the online bidders literally can bid like that, right? And you've got a guy in the room or lady in the room, and they raise their hand, and you've got to figure out how to get that bid recorded before some guy online does it. It's hard, and so we have ways of locking their online guys out so we can actually get that work done, But that's another kind of element to this that you have to figure out. Like, you don't want your online guests to impact your in-person guests either, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So you've got to have the event that kind of works in both. And I know we're talking about auctions, and that's only one piece of the mechanic here. But really, ultimately, the question is it's not how do I stream this? It's what kind of event or version of the event can I create that will tailor to somebody who's not in the room.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, Mark, I would bring you in that case and say, okay, so you got to own this. And it's, not just, yes, I do want to pipe in some of the live things that are happening at this event. But at the same time, I mean, maybe at some point when something else is going on in the room that isn't relevant to the online bidders, like they're eating.
Yeah.
We're providing them with some sort of own special program or direct message that was video recorded from the executive director thanking them for attending, right?
Yeah.
Or
And again,
maybe
that just takes
entertainment.
takes intentionality and
Right.
and I guess you'd have to weigh too, how many people are coming to this online version?
Right.
And then is it worth our time and money to do something special for them?
Honestly, I have a lot of those conversations. I mean, the conversations are becoming fewer and fewer, but, the thought of, the idea to do a hybrid event is often because, we have this one donor who might bid on this live auction item. We want to give him the opportunity to
Call him.
Well, and that's the advice I give.
Just get him on the phone.
Yep.
I'm here to bid for you, bro. What do you want?
Yes.
This
right.
is where it's at. I know that sounds so non-technical, right?
That's
what I just
they've
described.
been doing for years.
Yep.
Yeah, but it
way
works.
back. It
Yeah.
does work.
Yeah.
It works very well.
It works. If you need to have if you got one guy and he just wants to proxy bid, find him a proxy bidder in the room, get him on the phone or chat with him and say, this is where it's at. Do you want to bid or not? And you can kind of handle that in the room. But yeah, if you had a collection of them, it's a little harder. And then I think maybe some sort of hybrid auction would work. But
yeah, I've only been to an event where there was 2 proxy bidders, and it was they had Elon Musk on the phone, and the guy's whispering to him what do you want? And then he's like,
right. Exactly.
I was at an event this weekend that had that.
Yeah.
It
Right.
worked well.
Yeah, good.
okay.
All right.
What's next? What you got for us now, Jeff?
I want to say what most people are going to get wrong is the belief that donor behavior has changed, but I don't think it's changed as much as most people think it has. I think the execution has instead. So, I mean, what do I mean by that? So, everybody wants to blame this kind of generational shift, right? So, everybody's attention span is down. I think there was some stat that we have the attention span that's less than a goldfish or something like that. Have you heard about
I
that?
didn't even know that goldfish had attention spans.
I think
Apparently they're beating us.
it's 8 seconds. I think the attention span of a goldfish is 8 seconds, and the attention span of a fundraising gala attendee is 6 seconds or something. I don't know, I'm making it up, but there was some sort of study like that. But I don't think so. I think donors still want to feel connected. I still think that they want a frictionless experience. I think they're going to give generously. I think in a lot of ways, if their heart is connected to your organization, I don't think any of those things will change. They have the heart for your organization, they're going to give money.
I agree.
Yep. Always.
But I do think there's an increased intolerance, right, for what I would call clunky execution. Just this concept of making things difficult for the sake of either saving money or not really kind of thinking through the experience or the process up front. Or just because honestly, it's how you've always done it. And so where their tastes and their opinions are evolving because their experiences with other types of products and services that they consume is evolving, like yours isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm a big Chick-fil-A fan. You guys already know that. Especially,
We know.
Not just the food.
I know.
It's-
Jeff, you have about 182 free sandwiches
I do.
left for the year.
I
so
have like
we
100
know.
free sandwiches in my account, I guess. I never use them. But
That's how much you buy Chick-fil-A.
One of the things I love about Chick-fil-A is that they do think about these things.
Yeah.
And so if you've ever ordered from them, you've done this, right? So one of the frustrating things is I go onto the app and I order, and then if I say I'm going to pick it up in the drive-thru, have you been to a Chick-fil-A drive? I know they go fast. I don't want to. We're not here to talk about industry stats on how many cars per minute they get through. But there is one right near our office here, and it has 2 lines, okay? And that thing has got 40 cars in 2 lines. I don't want to sit.
Right.
And I don't want to get out of my car either. I mean, it was like 6 degrees the other day. So
You should have sent a lease.
no, you don't get it. They invented the mobile through line.
Yeah.
Okay. The mobile through line, you cannot get in that line unless you've ordered on your phone. And so when you show up, you scan your QR code from your order. Okay.
And they let you in the line?
And then, well, no, they pick up your order right away. You're in a third line in this drive-through, not waiting with everybody else who's like perusing the menu, trying to figure out what they want, right? You pass all of them. You go way up to the front, and they walk out and hand you your order.
Oh.
What?
And I was like, that's what I'm talking about, right? Because I'm still going to eat at Chick-fil-A, right?
Right.
Your donors are still going to go to your event, okay? But now I am frustrated. I don't want to stand in that line, right? I definitely want some sort of mechanical change that's going to make the experience better.
Yeah.
Because you did all the things you were asked to do. You bought your ticket, you bought your table, you added your guest information. Just send me through the line.
Get me
Get me to the
through.
bar.
Yeah.
Get me through. Give me the express check-in.
Express check.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody's like, that's so impersonal. I want to say hi. I'm like,
Say hi
as
later.
the donor, I don't care.
Yeah.
You are standing, your hi is standing between me and the bar. That's what I'm kind of thinking.
And
Is that impersonal? I don't know. Let's be candid and
If
honest.
it's
with each other.
somebody-
and I'm only one cocktail away from giving you even more money.
Right.
right.
Get them in the line and grease them up before they sit down. No, but I think that if you really want to see somebody, make an intention to go find them once they're,
Yeah.
Right.
sitting down, eating or whatever. Just
Oh my God. How about we just create, because we could easily do this in Handbid, is alert you as the auction host when somebody important shows
Oh,
up.
and you could pre-select the people that you're like, hey, notify
I
me
wanna
when
say
these
hi
people
to
get
them.
here.
Yes,
Yeah, that's a good
absolutely.
idea.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the counter experience. And when I say counter, I don't mean like the kitchen counter. I mean the counter,
The
like
opposite.
the opposite experience. And Elise and we were just talking about this before the podcast started. Our favorite airline.
United.
No, I'm not talking. I'm being sarcastic here.
Southwest.
Southwest.
The counter
I can
to
think
that
of a
is
few
Southwest.
worse, but
So they have an evolving business model, right?
Yes.
And so what they've figured out, or at least what their investors have asked them to figure out, is that premium revenue is extremely valuable, and they weren't capturing premium revenue because they had this very different business model. And so, and when premium revenue is everything from seat upgrades to baggage fees to lounges to you name it. Okay. And, the main big carriers, Delta and United and American, have figured this out for a long time, that they make a lot of money off of these premium revenue
Update,
passengers.
yeah, upgrades, yeah.
And it's upgrades. And Southwest had a couple of them. They had early bird and all that kind of stuff, but not really anything significant.
Nothing major.
Not
Yeah.
like the seat upgrades you get, in first class.
You
and-
get-
No, you
Yeah.
get boarding position for $25, versus
So, anyway.
an $85.
So they've changed their model. Everybody, I think, knows that. Everybody knows that except for my special needs daughter, who's about to find out here in about 2 weeks.
Oh.
She's not going to be happy. But yeah, everybody's seen this, and you've seen some of the impacts of this already. Even before we're at assigned seats with Southwest, they have a baggage in bin problem. And I think my entire boarding experience is diminished because of this. I fly them a lot, as much as I fly any other airline. And you know what's so funny is now when you go to the gate, they are literally hounding people to pre-check
To
their
check
bags.
their bags.
Because they don't have enough overhead
room.
bin space, because this is not an airline that was designed for people to bring a lot of bags on board, because they didn't charge for them before. And their planes are old, and they don't have, kind of the more modern overhead bins.
Yeah, larger.
Larger,
Some of them
yeah.
do, but I mean, it's slowly coming out. But it's just a combination of things. And you sit there in the gate area, and all they do is say, we need 10 more volunteers. We need 8 more volunteers.
We'll get you on the plane first.
Yeah, and then sure enough, we're getting on the airplane, and I'm A16, my wife is A17, so we're up near the front. And look, this isn't a toot your horn thing, but like, we do have status. That's how we got to that spot. Why are you picking on us? Right? I'm kind of thinking through this process. This would be like going to your major donors and like picking on them for something at the event. Like you got in the wrong line, or
Putting them in the slow line?
yeah, you didn't fill out the form right, and whatever it might be. Anyway, so we're sitting there, and she pulls my wife out of line when we're scanning our, basically our boarding passes. And she says, that suitcase is too big. It's not going to fit. My wife's like, well, I fly enough where I know it's going to fit.
Yeah.
Right. And they're in this kind of back and forth. I'm like,
geez.
I'm out of here. I'm getting on the
Boarding
airplane.
this plane.
Oh, gosh.
I'm picking my seat.
I'm getting to the exit row as fast as I possibly can. So she finally comes on, and I'd saved her a seat and stuff. And I actually saved her bin space. I just threw my backpack up next to my bag and I could just pull it back out when she got there. The lady made her like zip up her bag and make it smaller. You know what I'm saying? Like, so here's my wife
Sitting on the suitcase?
Yeah, where you're boarding the plane, she's sitting on her suitcase trying to zip this thing up. I'm like, she like now hates the airline. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do that? Right? And then to make matters worse, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. The crew has taken over the first set of bins on every airplane.
Yes.
With their own stuff.
Yes. So you sit in the front, like you're in the bulkhead.
Yeah.
And you got to put your suitcase back
3 or 4
rows. So then when you get up you're the first one off the plane. Well, everybody behind you stood up. You're walking back through the crowd to get your suitcase, and those people are all mad at you.
Why don't they put their stuff under the plane?
Yes. Or why don't they put it in the last row of the
back.
airplane?
Yeah.
They're the last ones to get off.
Exactly.
It is ridiculous, man. And so I'm just sitting here and I'm just calculating in my head. And I'm like, okay, so passenger behavior hasn't changed as much as people think. Execution has, right? I'm like, this is not good execution, if you ask me. It's not good. It is like, it makes me like the airline less. And it has nothing to do with you're not treating me special enough. It has to do with you've made
It's just
changes
difficult.
to your policy that have made it more difficult for me to enjoy my travel experience.
Yeah.
And
so the
their
question is-
price is the same as some of the other premium
And
airlines.
doesn't that want you to make you want to change? Like,
Well, yeah,
if they're the same
for me,
price,
I've exclusively
you're gonna hop on
flown
over.
Southwest because it was, hey, we're responsible. We check in quick. We're
It's
usually A
easy.
or B.
It's
and I got my
easy, yeah.
family. It's easy. And so I've been loyal to them for that. Then when I booked my first flight this past, a few weeks ago. I'm going to Texas next week for a wedding, and it was my first experience where I had to like pick a seat and like, I accidentally picked the wrong one that's $40 more than what the advertised price was, and I was just like, why? what am I doing? Like, maybe I switch to United and get one of those United credit cards and then start flying for free. Because
Yes, Mark.
It's Southwest is just like, now they're just like everybody else at this point.
And you
They
get the
are.
lounge.
So
It's
what sets them apart? You know, I don't know.
Well, and that's the question I think our listeners need to ask themselves is what is going to set you apart? Right? And if you don't, like if your concern is, you know, my guests are old and they can't figure things out or technology makes it impersonal, I'm telling you, like every part of our, you know, of every person's life. I mean, my dad travels. My dad orders Starbucks on this phone. Like all of the people of all ages. My dad is, for those people who don't know, he's 80. He's going to be 85 this year. Okay.
Nice.
So he's not young, but he's used to these things.
Yeah.
You know, my dad, I went to breakfast with him the other day. He paid with his Apple Wallet on his iPhone.
Did you like tap to pay?
He did tap to pay kind of thing. Yes. I was like, I mean, these people are used to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not new.
He's like, he's like, I can't get my credit cards out of my wallet. My fingers don't work like that anymore. I'm like, that is an insightful thing to say, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's like, I just can't fumble with that stuff. And so, I mean, the point we're making here is like all of those things, like if you think that they only apply to your event, it's like, I don't think so. Right? I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, I look at it and say everything that every single one of your guests is experiencing these days is more convenience and technology helping them do it.
Yes.
Advancements in technology.
Yeah.
It is happening with
Well, yeah.
every industry.
Right. Well, I always call it a good podcast so we can throw Southwest into
That's
it.
right.
And Chick-fil-A.
Throw them under the bus.
Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I honestly think
What else
events
are we gonna talk
need
about?
to take a cue from that Chick-fil-A, having those 3 lines of like, you
Yes.
need to register, you already registered, you can just go like.
I think they
direct line to the bar.
trademarked mobile through. I was actually thinking of stealing it, but
Yeah.
I just think that's the best.
I think
mobile
it's great.
through.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys
All
ready
right.
for another one?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Simpler events aren't a trend. They're a correction.
I agree.
I agree.
Too many irons in the fire. You know what? When you're juggling way too many things, how do you execute everything perfectly?
Oh my God. And it's like,
people
I
get
have the auction and I've got the
frustrated.
paddle race and then I got the raffle and then I got the dessert dash. And I was just like,
Right. It's like a ping pong ball. And then at some point you're like, okay, sure, let me pull out my wallet again. I mean, I'm here to spend money, but like every time I turn around, I'm just smacked with it. Right.
smacked.
And you get to a point where you just want to go home.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially if you're not being entertained
Yeah.
or it's
Right.
You're
worth being
tired,
there.
it's
Yeah.
late.
Right.
it's time.
Timing.
Just-
It's about timing.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it is definitely not about more sponsorship tiers, more program. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had clients and I go to their sponsorship page and there's like 25 of them up there. And I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to start as a donor.
Right.
Like,
Just finding ways to make what you're doing more impactful.
yeah.
And easier. If it's easy on your donor, everyone's going to be happier.
Yeah.
And you'll
You know,
probably bring in more.
It's like the Cheesecake Factory. You guys ever looked at the menu at
Oh
the
my
Cheesecake
gosh.
Factory?
I haven't been there.
It is
I'll be honest with you
overwhelming.
in maybe 20 years.
Probably
You know what?
their menu is
I did last
overwhelming.
year because I was out of town
Wasn't
for a
it called-
gymnastics meet and the
Eat
girls
This, Not
wanted
That
to go.
called it the worst restaurant in America, right? Am I correct about that?
Well, okay, Jeff, we don't read Eat This, Not
I mean,
That. That's your special
they
needs
got
daughter.
Thai, Mexican, Italian, Chinese.
I mean, you guys, that
American.
menu is like 46 pages
It
long,
is.
back and front. Okay.
It's a book. It's spiral
it is
bound,
a
right?
book.
Yes. And it is like, it is just line after line. And it's
And then you get to the 46 pages of cheesecake.
right. But like, I can't go there.
Which are probably the least calorie things on the menu are this cheesecake.
But I can't go there because it is just too overwhelming
It
to
is.
like.
So is Los Dos's
Take-
menu, and we go there every Thursday. But we
but
memorize
you
it.
know what you are having.
Mexican restaurants
Los Dos
have
salad.
they have the menu bloat too, right? I mean, I
They
would
do,
say.
but
Totally.
not like Cheesecake
Yeah,
Factory.
and there is something to say about simplicity, right? Like
Yes.
Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, even
Chick-fil-A.
right?
Right.
It's like there's these 10 things.
Pick your
Or like
SKUs.
In-N-Out.
Yes.
In-N-Out, one of the most popular
Right.
restaurants. It's the same
So how do you
thing.
simplify your
Sounds good.
options this year?
I agree, and like in you know, it's so funny because we were chatting about this at I'm on a board of a nonprofit locally here, and it's like, what are we going to change up at our event? And I'm like, we need to simplify it, and we did. I mean, we had this combo golf tournament, like gala dinner, And, the original hypothesis was worth trying out, which is, am I going to buy a foursome at a golf tournament, and then me and the other three people playing with me will bring our significant others and we'll get a table of 8 at this steakhouse dinner? Mm-hmm. Okay. It just doesn't work that way. The people that want to go to the steak dinner aren't the same people that necessarily want to play golf. Or they're busy and they can't do 2 days in a row or whatever it was, and it's just so complicated. And then we had these combo tickets, and anyway, it was not worth it. And so it's like, what's your advice? I'm like, simplify. My advice to you guys is to simplify this. And you can still do 2 events, split them up, get them nowhere near each other.
Mm-hmm. One in the spring, one in the fall.
Yeah. This is what the organization I'm involved with, we made that switch last year.
Make it simple. Mm-hmm. Make it simple.
Love it.
Look at every auction item you're selling, and if it's not getting enough bids or you don't think it's worth the effort, don't put it in. You do not need to have 150 auction items in your auction if you don't want. You don't have to. I mean, if you do, great. I don't have any problem with that. But if that's a struggle for you, don't worry about it. Okay. Last one.
All right, yeah.
We have time for one more, don't we?
Yeah, one more. One more.
All right. The orgs that will win in 2026 are already doing this one thing differently. What is that?
I bet it has something to do with guest experience.
I don't know. Since we've been talking about the guest experience the entire podcast.
I'm sure it's making everything more complicated.
Are you making it more complicated, expanding the menu?
That's right.
84 pages of food.
Handing you a spiral-bound
run of show.
Run of show.
Having it go to 11:30 at night.
Yes, right. Check-ins at 4 p.m. Checkouts at midnight.
Cocktail hour for VIP starts at 3.
Yes. No, I think you're right. I mean, I think guest experience is the strategic element of the event. It's not about logistics, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people, they look at it and they say, I've got to just streamline check-in. I have to streamline it. Mm-hmm. And then they do things that so annoy guests and so annoy your mobile bidding company along with it that they're not productive. They don't do what you're actually trying to do because you make assumptions about things that, my guests won't do that, or my guests won't like that, or my guests can't do that I think you turn it into, I would say just a logistics nightmare.
So what would you say is a way that an organization can go about making that shift?
Well, I think you plan things, it's so funny because most organizations, we say they plan from the inside out, right? They say, we've got to raise $150,000, right, for our budget or whatever it is. And so we need to have a gala to do that, or we need to take the same gala we've always had and we're going to tweak it here or there. And this is the gala budget. So if my goal is to raise 150, my budget is whatever, say $30,000. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why? Like, why do you do it that way? Why do you start with this and then you kind of try to expand out? And it's like, at the end of the day, like nothing's really changed, and you've tied things all to a revenue goal and an expense restriction. Mm-hmm.
But you're still
never thought about, what am I creating here? What kind of experience?
Right.
Who's coming? How's it going to work? And then thinking about how some of those other elements of it, just work themselves out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like the food pyramid. You know how the food pyramid got flipped upside down?
Yes.
It's like the same thing. It's like start with the experience, right? Start with
from the outside in, Mark.
Right. Exactly.
So start from the outside in. Like, what do guests want to feel when they arrive? What kind of arrival experience am I having? Right?
What time do they want to leave? What time does?
What time's
how
appropriate?
long?
Like, at what point do I think like I've overstayed? I've overstayed my welcome with them.
Right.
Right. If you think about everything from that standpoint, and look, this isn't. We don't have this, like, no one's perfect at events. But at the Derby event, we always start with this. It's like, okay, like, I know we're going to have an auction. We're going to have a live auction. We typically throw the live auction together the night before the event. Okay?
True story.
So it's like, those things aren't the things that we start with, right? We start with, okay, what kind of experience did we have last year? And how do we improve the guest experience elements of that, period? Mm-hmm. What's the entertainment? What are we changing about the arrival experience? What do I want guests to see when they walk down that long path at Fiddler's Green to their table? What am I changing about the table? What am I changing about the hospitality experience? What am I changing about the food? What am I changing about, the drinks and all that other kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, we have revenue elements of this. Yeah, we're going to ask them to donate. Yeah, we're going to put an auction together of some sort. I don't know what it's going to be, right? Those things all kind of come together, but it's got to start with that stuff.
Yeah.
Our goal with our Derby event, because we'll push the envelope faster than anybody, is I don't even want to check in. Period.
Just RFID track them.
They
Mobile
arrive.
check-in.
They arrive.
Yeah.
They can show up. They can scan a QR code. And I don't want it to be impersonal. We'll have people up front to greet, and normally we have families up there. And
It's
thank you
almost
for coming.
shifting your mindset to an arrival experience and not a check-in.
Yeah.
Sounds much
Like you're here. Imagine
clinical.
having an app guide them through that experience. And we're not ready to do this year, but download the Derby app. Walk up, scan this QR code. Here's what's going on today, guys. We got an auction going on. We got a dunk tank with a lease in it. We've got
This lease, for sure.
That happened.
you know what I'm saying? But any of that that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I think that's the change. And it's we have an event budget template up there, and those things are important for people that need to know how much am I spending on the sound and stage and that kind of stuff. And I'm not belittling any of that.
Yeah.
Right.
But we've never, ever, ever, ever sat down and said, well, my budget on sound is $6,000 or $5,000, and I can't exceed that.
No.
Because what we say is I want the sound to sound good.
Right.
Period. We start with that.
I want
Sound's got to be good.
I want that Derby
And that-
race to be crisp.
Yeah, I want the
the
TV.
sound
I
and
want
the
the TV to be big and visible and work, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things. And we've gone through bad experiences to know that. And I'm not saying because they were necessarily cheaper. We just didn't know. And then it's like, okay, so we're at the Broncos facility and we hired this company and they came in and the TV, it wasn't LED. You couldn't see it.
You couldn't hear.
Oh.
The echo.
The sound was awful. Mm-hmm. And it echoed and it bounced and everybody got statically electrocuted on
my gosh.
the dance floor thing that
your
the
hair
Broncos
was-
put down.
fun.
You're wearing derby dresses. It's your deck. Mark, you've been there. You're dressed to the nines.
Been to events there?
Yeah.
With that white
You
floor?
look like you've been
I've been to the Broncos
electrocuted.
one,
Okay.
no.
Oh, the Broncos one, they put down a white floor over their field. And you get statically clean.
Charged.
Women's hair was starting to float up. I kid you not.
I look like Afro Man.
Insane.
And it's and then they do the buffet. The caterer does we're just revealing all of our mistakes. But this is what happens when you start in the wrong direction, right?
Yeah.
It's the caterer went out there and they put everything out and no serving utensils. I'm like, what am I going to do? Grab my hands and dig into the salad and just scoop it onto my plate?
That's the 2026 trend, isn't it?
Well, it's like,
You take your plastic derby cup. That's your scooper, Jeff.
Yeah, there you go.
but start with that.
Yeah.
Right. And we've attended events already this year and we walked out of those events saying the same thing.
Yeah.
There's little minor things here or there. It's the overall guest experience that was completely not thought through end to end.
Yeah.
And some of it had nothing to do with the auction or revenue.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Nothing. I
know what we were talking about. They made more money.
Well, no,
Right.
my point is it has just had nothing to do with any of those
Right.
things. It's just if I were a guest, I'd be annoyed about X, Y, and Z. So I think that's the thing, right? If the orgs that are going to win in 2026 are doing this one thing differently, and it is starting from the outside in, guest experience, bar none.
Yeah.
Bar none.
Yeah.
All right.
There it is.
Is that a wrap?
Are we going back to
Bar
talk about the
none.
weather? No. We should wrap this thing up.
That's right. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment, and share.
And share.
That's right.
All right.
Come see us next time.
Yeah. Hey, for everybody out there, hope 2026 is an amazing year for your fundraising and for your events.
And
That's
for your
right.
guests.
All right. And for your guests.
Yes. Yes.
That's right.
Invite us to come. We'll tell you what we think of your event.
We'll roast you on the show.
Love it. See you guys. Till next time.
Thanks for joining us. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone on your team who's tired of settling for good enough. And if you're ready to see what a real experience-first platform looks like, visit handbid.com. We don't just support your event, we handle it.